Now we're going to replace the ignition coils and the spark plugs. So push that tab in on the back of the harness of the ignition coils. Right there, just push it with your thumb and pull it right out. And then get your socket, 10mm, and just break these 4 bolts on these 2 coils. Break them loose. Let's take these screws all the way out. Be careful not to lose any of them. Don't drop them. Try not to work on grass, because if you drop it, it'll be gone. Won't be able to find it. Take these 4 screws out, these bolts I should say, not screws. This right here is just a grounding wire of mine I've installed. Yours probably won't have that. And set the bolts aside. Now, if you technically you probably should disconnect the negative battery terminal before you start doing this. I don't worry about it, but I'm used to working on cars. This just kind of pulls right up. It's attached underneath to a spark plug wire. Okay then. Well, got all kinds of stuff seizing on me. It's not supposed to pull apart like that, but it's also not the end of the world. It just snaps back in place. And then it's got this little clip on it here that one clicks into that wire. And you just kind of work it off the other one as well. Work that plug wire off there, and then we'll get access to the spark plugs. Okay, now that I got those removed, you can't really see down in that hole, but spark plugs are down in those 4 holes. You'll need a extension, about a 6-inch extension, and a 5/8 spark plug socket. It has that isolator inside of it to protect the spark plug while you're loosening and tightening. You just kind of slide it down on the spark plug, wiggle it back and forth until you get it worked on the actual hex of the spark plug. You'll want to brace it right here so that it can't twist on you, and then you just rotate it to loosen it right there. There you go. Just get loosened up and take it out by hand the rest of the way. You want to be extra careful about your threads on spark plugs. And boom, there it is. You can kind of work it back and forth to get it out of there, and that's your spark plug. You'll just put a new one on there after you get all of them out. Now, I personally like the NGK BKR5E-11. It's their copper plug V-power. They're cheap as dirt. They have the least amount of resistance, but they don't last as long as a iridium or a platinum plug. And you'll want to check the gap on these. I've already checked the gap on them, but you'll want to check the gap on it and make sure it's accurate. It should be 0.44 gap on them for the 2002 Mitsubishi Lancer. And I'm a big fan of the anti-seize lubricant. I just kind of work it out there and put a strip down it, sort of, more or less. So I just glob it to that one central area and kind of work it into the threads in just that one central area, and as it spins it'll just work itself around. You want to be careful not to get any on the electrode or the grounding. So just kind of get it on that one central area like that. Then you'll just want to slide that in there get it locked into the hex in there and thread it in by hand. Just kind of place it down in there. I like to backspin it a little bit, and you can feel it kind of pop into place whenever you backspin it, and then I just start spinning by hand, tightening it. And it should go all the way by hand. It shouldn't have any sticking issues or anything, so you should just have to snug it up with a socket. So it's all the way seated now, all the way by hand, and just give it a couple of spins there. Good and tight. Now, one very serious consideration is you want to make sure that your engine is cool before you start doing this. Don't let it run. Don't do this if you ran your engine all day, pretty much. So just wake up in the morning and do this when your engine's good and cool. Okay, now that you've got all your spark plugs in, you go ahead and start putting your new ignition coils in. Or in my case, I'm actually not replacing my ignition coils, but it's the same process. So you just snap the boots down on the spark plugs, and you'll kind of feel it go on it, but it'll be subtle as well. The ignition coils snap down just like that. Plug the coils back up, wiring harnesses on them back up, and they snap into place. And then start getting these bolts back into them to hold them down. Whoop, forgot my grounding wire on this one. Once again, this is an aftermarket grounding wire I'm putting on it, so your car will not have this unless if you've installed them. And this last one, this wire right here, kind of snapped down in that holder on the coil itself. Make sure that your boots are pushed in good to the coils, the wires on both ends. Then take your 10mm socket and tighten these down. I like to get everything hand tight first. After you've got them all buttoned back in, tightened down, go ahead and start it up and see how this bad boy runs. Well, there she is, running like a top.